lawyer and political affairs analyst, to help us dissect some of those behind-the-scene drama that we saw before Mr. President signed the amended act into law. Okay, Mr. President yesterday signed the amended bill into law at about 5 p.m. and we saw the Senate President, the Chief of Staff, the Speaker, House of Reps, and some other members of the National Assembly joining Mr. President immediately signed that act into law. And you know, we have seen different kind of reactions, Barrister Kimbolu, coming from people, and people are actually insinuating a lot of things as to why Mr. President had to quickly rush to sign that bill into law, not minding the protest. What's your take on this?
There's no rush there. It can only be a rush if the National Assembly has said that we have not passed the law. They said we have passed the law.
Okay.
They sent it to him to perform his constitutional role of ascending to law, and he did. So what is the big deal? I am sorry, I will disappoint some people. I'm not one of the proponents of electronic voting. I don't think we are ripe for it. The most educated, like we would call ourselves, or the most learned
or the
people in Nigeria today, we are the lawyers. We have conducted 3 elections through electronic voting. The 3 of them are still in court as I talk to you.
That's the NBA.
Do you understand? If NBA cannot do it, a microcosm of Nigeria cannot do that. They are fighting. You will just discover that somebody is leading. Before 3 o'clock, between 1 to 3 a.m., one stupid result will come from nowhere and somebody will win. This is what has been happening. So if they are able to manipulate that of NBA, why they not do to that of Nigeria? Again, all the service provider, is it MTN? Is it Etisalat? Is it Airtel? Is it Glo? Which of them is providing any good services? Do you understand? If you call now, out of every 10 calls made in Nigeria, from whatever network that you are making call, 10 or 3 or 4, a good number of you will not even hear what they are saying, and they will remove your money. Do you understand? We don't have a good platform to do this. I tried to argue with somebody was trying to argue with me, or I was trying to argue with him, or we argue with each other. That this issue of there may not be network, and the person was saying he's not going to use network. I said, oh, he's not going to use data. Will he use my blood? You understand? I asked the person, and he was laughing. We are not ripe for this age. And when you say, like the state, the spokesperson for the Senate, Senator Yemi Adamodu, he enlightened Nigeria. We have put this proviso there to ensure that, well, if this thing fails, when we use card readers, we still use the manual. Do you understand? Because we are not fully prepared for this. Do you have database in Nigeria? We are only trying to move to that process now where we're having NIN, we're having BVN. It's one of the best things to have happened in Nigeria. Do you understand? Even with the NIN stuff and all that, you can at least project or guess the population of Nigeria, at least the elites. Do you understand? So when we talk electronic voting, how do we do it? You must use that network. If you are not using network, are they not going to use electricity? Do we have electricity? Do we have go to some, I told somebody, go to some places in Cross River. It's on top of the mountain. Somebody was arguing with me now, there is no network in Nigeria. I said there are a lot of places that there are no network. Even any places like that, I said motor, no car can even reach there. You have to go by bicycle or trekking. Do you understand?
So your position is that we are not ripe for it.
We are not ripe for it. And again, why are we putting the cart before the horse? You see, some of people that are demonstrating. I'm an activist, you know, a renowned one for that matter. However, I don't protest blindly. When we need to be practical. We need to be practical. We need to, engage the government policy. We do. We need to engage them and criticize what we do. Now, people are talking of lottery of result. It's like somebody who has a headache, and the headache was caused by malaria. I didn't treat malaria. You are treating headache. Now, is it voting in an election process? There are procedures. What comes first? Accreditation, voting, then transmission of results, counting and transmission of results. You are talking of electronic transmission of results. What happened to the voting? If you want to rig, you will have rigged. If this polling unit cannot produce 500 votes, you have produced 1,500 votes. You have rigged the result.
The vote will not be counted before you transmit.
You will not transmit the fake result into the electronic voting. So if that is the argument, it doesn't make sense to me.
Okay,
because if you are talking about electronic voting and electronic transmission, fine. You can't do one without the other. If you do this without this other one, it's fake. It's useless. You are not talking of want to vote electronically so that it will be automatic when I press yes, it will show and it will go. But you are saying after they have done everything manually, you now put it in a computer and it doesn't make sense at all.
Okay, Barrister Kimbolu, with the signing of this act into law by Mr. President, does that give you the confidence that the 2027 election is going to be better than what we had in 2023?
No, it's not going to be better because we have not even, you see, every time you find out, every election year, we try to amend the law. Is this how they amend it in America? Is this how they amend it in South Africa? Is this how they amend it in Ghana? Why do we keep on learning and we are bad students of history? Why were the people not amending this electoral act before the election of 2027 comes near? And again, if you plan, Bruce said, he will pay to plan plans to fail. Now, if you don't do your homework very well, the attendant consequences will be very grave. You are going to fail. Why is it that when the election is very close, are you aware that there need to be voter sensitization and education, enlightenment of the electorate and the voters and the citizens? These are not been done. Can you do this one between now and February that they are going to conduct the election? These are the things. We have to be practical in some of these things that we do. Do you get? You don't do that. Please, when you talk, we want Nigeria to be good. Now, we have just amended this electoral act now. We will experiment it in 2027. By the time they do the election, everybody will go to sleep. Until when it's 2031 again, they start to say, we need to amend. And they will amend a few days to the election again. And the experimentation we are going to do in 2007 is not foolproof because we were not prepared for it. It's not a good time. We have a lot of staggered or galloping elections that we used to do in Ekiti, in Enugu, in Kogi, in Bayelsa, in Osun, in Ondo, and the rest of them. Now, these are the places you could have tested this law. Do you understand? But you don't. Before the general election. But you will not do it until when the general election comes. You will not, because it's trial and error. When a scientist discovers a drug, they will use it on animals. They will watch it over time. When it's working, they will now do it on human. Before they now say, oh, we are foolproof. How are we going to experiment in? No way. Okay. The general election. So you are using error to test some error. And you want to get excellent result. It's impossible.
Okay. Adam, you have a question?
I asked a question earlier when we started the show and we talked about this, which had to do with timing and of course electoral integrity. Barrister, INEC released the 2027 election timetable just before this amendment was signed. Legally, is it proper to do so? Wouldn't that also raise suspicions?
Well, if you talk about that, because at that time the law is ongoing, they are trying to make the law, and INEC will not stop at doing something. There is an extant law that was guiding INEC. So INEC will not say, oh, because they want to make the law, that is what will be suspicious. That you are waiting until the law is passed before you can do your timetable. That would be suspicious. But now we are just doing our own as an independent body. If the law is passed, fine, because you are not so sure whether the law will be passed, and you don't know the kind of law they will pass. So if they have made their timetable, they can still adjust it within the ambit of that law that has been passed. They can do amendment to it. Timetable is meant by man. It's not the other way around. So if it's not going to serve the ultimate benefit of humankind, they can always amend. But one of the things that we have expected in the electoral that people should even talk about, they are not talking about them. Let all elections be conducted on one day. That was what we have in 2003. That's what we have in 1999, and so on and so forth. You can't just say. In fact, do you know, I'm an election petition expert. What I know is that the law we used to use then in 2007, 2003, they are better than now. When you vote for governorship, it's blue biro. For presidential, it's red biro. For House of Rep, I think it's green biro. So when you count the number of green biro, and it's 150, and you record 151, you know they have rigged. In fact, in those days when we want to do election petition, we have a voter's card. Once you vote, they will stamp the back. So what we used to do when you bring an election petition, we say, go and get your voters or your supporters. get as many unused voters card as possible. So when you have an unused voters card and we bring out the register and they have ticked your name and your voters card is not stamped, that is better than the one we are doing now.
It's real time.
It's very easy and fine.
All right, Sakigolu, we have to
Okay.
go now because of our time. We must thank you very much for coming to share your thought with us on President Bola Tinubu's accent to the amended Electoral Act 2026, which is now a law in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Interesting day ahead as we look forward to the 2027 general elections. We thank you very much for your
It's
time.
a pleasure for having me. Good morning.
All right, we'll take another quick break now. When we come back, interesting topic we shall be discussing on the second leg of the program this morning. Degrees with no jobs, causes and solutions. Stay with us.